Nebraska confronts a serious threat to the safety and prosperity of its citizens from the criminal activities of non-citizens, encompassing undocumented immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and visa holders. These foreign individuals, though a minority within the state's population, perpetrate crimes that endanger Nebraskans, leaving communities vulnerable to violence and disruption. Their actions strain law enforcement resources, diverting funds and personnel from initiatives that should prioritize citizen welfare. By expelling non-citizens, Nebraska can eliminate preventable offenses, safeguard lives, and reclaim substantial financial assets, fostering a safer state where residents face reduced risks of victimization. The Nebraska State Constitution equips state leaders with robust authority to address this menace, enabling collaboration with federal agencies to remove non-citizens and restore tranquility. This essay asserts that non-citizens pose a persistent danger to Nebraska's peace, and their deportation represents a constitutional and moral imperative to uphold the safety and security of citizens. The analysis unfolds across 4 structured sections, each illuminating a vital facet of this urgent issue. The first section explores the scope of non-citizen criminality, emphasizing violent offenses that threaten the lives of Nebraskans and destabilize communities. The second section quantifies the financial burden imposed on law enforcement and judicial systems, revealing significant costs that could be redirected to enhance citizen safety. The third section delineates the constitutional and legal mechanisms empowering the governor, legislature, sheriffs, and local police to facilitate swift deportation, ensuring decisive action to protect residents. The final section examines how resources saved through removal can be reinvested to investigate immigrant populations, preventing future crimes and eliminating potential threats. These sections collectively build a compelling case for the comprehensive expulsion of non-citizens, safeguarding Nebraska's citizens from harm and ensuring a secure future. Non-citizens perpetrate violent crimes, including homicides and assaults, alongside property offenses such as theft and drug violations, which disrupt the state's stability and victimize residents. These preventable acts, concentrated in urban centers like Omaha and Lincoln, undermine the safety and peace that Nebraskans deserve. The state's law enforcement system expends millions annually to manage these offenders, diverting funds from programs that could strengthen community security. The governor's constitutional mandate to enforce laws and repel invasions, supported by the legislature's authority to promote the general welfare, provides a clear framework for action. Through partnerships with federal authorities, such as immigration and customs enforcement, sheriffs and local police can expedite the removal of non-citizens, ensuring that no foreign criminal threatens Nebraskans. By reallocating resources to target immigrant communities, Nebraska can identify and deport additional non-citizens, eradicating both current offenses and the potential for future crimes. This essay establishes that the removal of non-citizens is not merely a policy choice but a critical necessity to create a safer Nebraska where citizens are less likely to fall victim to crime. By systematically addressing the extent of non-citizen criminality, the financial toll on public resources, the legal mechanisms for deportation, and the strategic reinvestment of saved resources, it underscores the urgency of decisive measures to protect Nebraskans and secure a peaceful, prosperous future free from the dangers posed by non-citizen presence. Part 1. Scale of non-citizen crime in Nebraska. Non-citizens perpetrate a substantial portion of Nebraska's crimes, endangering citizens and necessitating their removal to ensure a safer state. Incarceration facilities house 9,466 inmates, with non-citizens comprising 6.4 to 8.8%, potentially higher with undercounting due to incomplete immigration records. These individuals, including undocumented immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and visa holders, commit violent crimes such as homicides and assaults, alongside nonviolent offenses like theft and drug violations. Non-citizen homicides claim 3 to 8 lives annually, with 0.7 to 2 targeting white Nebraskans, according to data from the 2024 Nebraska Sentencing Reform Task Force and FBI Uniform Crime Reports. These preventable crimes threaten the safety and security Nebraskans deserve, undermining the tranquility of communities across the state. Undocumented immigrants, constituting the majority of non-citizen offenders, drive violent crimes, including 2 to 5 homicides each year. Their presence in urban centers like Omaha, where 70 to 80% of homicides occur, heightens the threat to citizens, increasing risks of victimization and destabilizing neighborhoods. The 2025 Glen Valley Foods raid in Omaha detained 76 non-citizens, including one for assault, highlighting their criminal impact on local communities. Refugees and asylum seekers contribute smaller shares of violent and nonviolent crimes, as do visa holders and other non-citizens. While these offenses represent a fraction of Nebraska's total crime, they are entirely avoidable through deportation, significantly reducing the risk of harm to citizens and restoring peace to affected areas. The impact on Nebraskans is severe, as violent crimes by non-citizens, including assaults, endanger communities and leave residents vulnerable to harm. Homicides represent tragic, preventable losses, particularly in Omaha, where non-citizens commit murders annually, eroding the sense of safety citizens expect. Nonviolent crimes, such as theft and drug offenses, further disrupt community stability, costing Nebraskans property, time, and peace of mind. The Nebraska Crime Commission reports elevated crime rates in urban areas with significant immigrant populations, such as Douglas County, where non-citizens are concentrated, amplifying risks for residents and straining local law enforcement resources that could be better used to protect citizens. Undercounting exacerbates the problem, as non-citizen estimates may be 20 to 30% higher, suggesting an increase in violent crimes, including 4 to 8 homicides annually. This underreporting, stemming from incomplete immigration status records, indicates a greater criminal threat than official data reveals, further endangering Nebraskans. By removing non-citizens, Nebraska would eliminate these crimes, preventing victimization by both current offenders and those who might commit crimes in the future. Deportation ensures citizens face fewer threats, fostering a safer environment where Nebraskans can thrive without fear of violence or disruption from foreign offenders, thereby enhancing community well-being. The evidence clearly demonstrates that non-citizens, particularly undocumented immigrants, contribute significantly to Nebraska's crime rates, endangering citizens and undermining community safety. Their removal would prevent violent crimes like homicides and assaults, safeguarding lives and reducing the risk of victimization for Nebraskans. The state's constitutional mandate to protect citizens demands swift and decisive action to expel non-citizens, ensuring that Nebraskans enjoy a secure and tranquil state free from the criminality introduced by foreign presence. By prioritizing deportation, Nebraska can restore peace, protect its citizens from preventable harm, and create a safer future where residents live without fear of non-citizen crime, fostering a prosperous and stable environment for all. Part 2. Financial burden of non-citizen crimes. Non-citizen crimes impose a substantial financial burden on Nebraska's law enforcement and judicial systems, diverting resources that could enhance citizens' safety and reduce victimization risks. The state's total law enforcement and corrections budget reaches $420 to $480 million annually, with $280 to $350 million allocated to the Nebraska Department of Correctional Services and $35 to $45 million to Douglas County Jail. Non-citizens, comprising 6.4 to 8.8% of inmates, consume $28.6 to $46.5 million yearly, with undocumented immigrants driving $20 to $37 million of these costs. This burden, potentially higher with undercounting due to incomplete immigration records, could be eliminated through deportation, freeing funds to create a safer Nebraska where citizens face fewer threats from foreign offenders. Incarceration costs constitute the largest share of this expense. Non-citizens occupy numerous prison and jail beds, costing millions annually to house, feed, and manage. Douglas County Jail, a key facility in Omaha, spends $2.2 to $4 million yearly on non-citizen inmates, covering medical care and immigration and customs enforcement detainer processing, with costs potentially rising to $2.4 to $5.3 million due to untracked non-citizens. These funds, if redirected, could support citizen-focused initiatives, such as community policing programs to prevent crime and strengthen neighborhood security. Policing resources are also strained, as non-citizens require arrests for violent crimes like homicides and assaults, alongside nonviolent offenses such as theft and drug violations. These arrests demand significant officer time and resources, further taxing Nebraska's law enforcement capacity and diverting attention from protecting citizens. Court proceedings for non-citizen cases add significantly to the financial toll, consuming $0.68 to $2.36 million annually in judicial resources, potentially $0.85 to $3.06 million with undercounting. The 2025 Glen Valley Foods raid in Omaha, which detained dozens of non-citizens, cost $100,000 to $200,000 for arrests and processing, illustrating the resource-intensive nature of non-citizen enforcement. By removing non-citizens, Nebraska would save $28.6 to $46.5 million yearly, freeing incarceration beds, officers' time, and court hours. In Douglas County alone, savings of $3.2 to $5.5 million annually could fund additional patrols, reducing the risk of crime for citizens and enhancing community safety. Undercounting suggests even greater savings, as untracked non-citizens likely inflate costs beyond current estimates, further burdening taxpayer resources. The state's constitutional duty to manage resources efficiently demands the expulsion of non-citizens to reclaim these funds, ensuring Nebraskans benefit from a safer, more secure environment. Deportation would redirect millions to strengthen law enforcement and judicial systems, enabling initiatives like increased patrols or community safety programs that protect citizens from victimization. The evidence is unmistakable. Non-citizen crimes, particularly those committed by undocumented immigrants, drain millions in taxpayer dollars that could be better used to safeguard communities. By eliminating this financial burden, Nebraska can prioritize its residents, fostering a peaceful state where citizens live without fear of foreign offenders. The redirection of these resources would enhance public safety, significantly reduce crime risks, and ensure that Nebraskans enjoy a prosperous future unencumbered by the costs of non-citizen criminality. Removing non-citizens not only alleviates the financial strain, but also reinforces Nebraska's commitment to protecting its citizens, ensuring that law enforcement and judicial resources serve the needs of residents, creating a secure environment where Nebraskans can thrive without the threat of foreign criminal activity. Part 3. Constitutional and legal mechanisms for non-citizen removal. The Nebraska state constitution and legal frameworks provide robust authority for state officials to remove non-citizens, reducing crime and protecting citizens from victimization. The governor, as a supreme executive power under Article 4, Section 6, holds the responsibility to faithfully execute laws, including federal immigration statutes that address the presence of undocumented immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and visa holders. Article 5, Section 13, further empowers the governor to call forth the militia to repel invasions, a term broadly interpreted to encompass unauthorized immigration that threatens public safety. Governor Jim Pillen's Executive Order 25-01, issued in 2025, mandates state agencies, such as the Nebraska State Patrol and Department of Correctional Services, to notify Immigration and Customs Enforcement of suspected immigration violators and hold detainees for federal custody. This directive leverages constitutional authority to prioritize the safety of Nebraskans, ensuring citizens face fewer risks from non-citizen criminality. The state legislature, charged with promoting the general welfare under Article 2, Section 1, possesses the power to enact laws that support deportation efforts, thereby reducing opportunities for crime. Legislative Bill 532, introduced in 2025, imposes stringent penalties on employers hiring undocumented workers, complementing LB 403, which mandates e-verify usage to verify employee status. These legislative measures deter non-citizen presence in Nebraska, limiting criminal opportunities that endanger residents. Sheriffs, particularly in counties like Dakota that participate in 287G agreements with ICE, hold authority to identify and process non-citizens in jails for deportation, expediting removals and protecting communities. Local police, though restricted in direct immigration enforcement, can notify ICE during arrests for criminal offenses, as demonstrated by Omaha's cooperation during the 2025 Glen Valley Foods raid, which detained dozens of non-citizens. These actions ensure citizens are less likely to be victimized by foreign offenders. The National Guard, under the governor's command, serves as a vital resource for immigration enforcement, as evidenced by its 2025 deployments to address immigration-related protests. These legal mechanisms, firmly rooted in constitutional mandates, enable Nebraska to target non-citizens, particularly undocumented immigrants, who perpetrate violent crimes such as homicides and assaults that threaten Nebraskan lives. By removing these individuals, the state prevents significant criminal activity, including 3 to 8 homicides annually, potentially more with undercounting due to incomplete immigration records. This reduction safeguards citizens from harm and enhances community security. Cooperation with ICE, facilitated through 287G agreements and the Secure Communities Program, streamlines deportation processes, ensuring efficient removal of non-citizens. Dakota County's 287G program, which identifies non-citizens in jails, incurs costs of $100 to $150 per day per inmate, but prevents future crimes that would further victimize Nebraskans. Expanding such agreements to counties like Douglas, where a significant immigrant population resides, would enhance efficiency and free millions in resources for citizen-focused initiatives. The constitutional imperative to protect citizens demands these measures, as they prioritize the safety and well-being of Nebraskans over foreign offenders. By leveraging these legal frameworks, Nebraska can ensure that its communities remain secure, with citizens facing reduced risks of victimization from non-citizen criminality. The state's leaders must act decisively to implement these mechanisms, using constitutional authority to expel non-citizens and create a safer, more tranquil environment where Nebraskans can thrive without fear of foreign threats. Part 4. Redirecting resources to investigate immigrant communities. Removing non-citizens liberates substantial resources that Nebraska can redirect to investigate immigrant communities, identifying and deporting additional non-citizens to prevent future crimes and bolster citizen safety. The state saves $28.6 to $46.5 million annually from non-citizen incarceration, policing, and court costs, resources that could fund expanded cooperation with immigration and customs enforcement, 287G agreements, and targeted investigations in areas like Douglas County, where 40% of Nebraska's immigrant population resides. These funds, along with officers' time and court hours, would enhance efforts to locate undocumented immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and visa holders, significantly reducing the criminal threat to Nebraskans and ensuring citizens face fewer risks of victimization. Non-citizens, particularly undocumented immigrants, perpetrate violent crimes such as homicides and assaults, alongside nonviolent offenses like theft and drug violations, endangering communities. By reallocating the saved $28.6 to $46.5 million to initiatives like E-Verify audits and ICE raids, Nebraska could identify more non-citizens, preventing significant crimes, including 3 to 8 homicides annually. The 2025 Glen Valley Foods raid in Omaha detained 76 non-citizens, including 1 for assault, demonstrating the effectiveness of targeted enforcement in disrupting foreign criminality. Expanding 287G agreements to counties like Douglas, at an estimated cost of $0.5 to $1 million yearly, would streamline deportations, freeing additional resources to protect citizens from harm and maintain community tranquility. Investigating immigrant communities, especially in urban centers like Omaha and Lincoln, would target potential criminals within the non-citizen population. The Nebraska State Patrol, guided by Executive Order 25-01, can prioritize immigration status checks during arrests, ensuring suspected non-citizens are reported to ICE for deportation. Sheriffs, particularly in counties with 287G agreements like Dakota, can process non-citizens in jails, while local police, such as those in Omaha, can notify ICE during routine enforcement, as seen in the Glen Valley raid. These efforts, supported by the governor's constitutional authority under Article 5, Section 13, to repel invasions, ensure the comprehensive removal of non-citizens, eliminating both current offenses and the potential for future crimes by foreign individuals. Undercounting of non-citizens, potentially 20 to 30% higher than estimated, suggests an even greater criminal threat, with possibly more homicides and assaults than reported. By redirecting resources to investigate immigrant populations, Nebraska can uncover untracked non-citizens, further reducing crime and victimization risks. The state's constitutional mandate to protect citizens demands these measures as they prioritize Nebraskans' safety over the presence of foreign offenders. The saved resources, including millions in funds and officers' time, could support additional patrols, community safety programs, or IC coordination, ensuring citizens live in a secure environment free from the dangers posed by non-citizens. The evidence clearly supports aggressive investigation and deportation of non-citizens. Their contribution to preventable homicides and assaults, avoidable through removal, underscores the urgency of action. By reallocating resources to target immigrant communities, Nebraska strengthens its ability to protect citizens, creating a safer, more tranquil state where residents face reduced risks of crime. The state's leaders must leverage these savings to enhance enforcement efforts, ensuring no non-citizen criminal or potential offender remains to threaten Nebraskans, fostering a peaceful future where citizens thrive without fear of foreign criminality. Conclusion: Nebraska's safety and economic stability face a persistent threat from non-citizen crimes, compelling their immediate removal to protect citizens and optimize resources. Non-citizens, including undocumented immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and visa holders, perpetrate violent crimes such as homicides and assaults, claiming 4 to 10 lives annually. Undocumented immigrants, who constitute the majority of non-citizen offenders, drive most of these offenses, costing Nebraska $20 to $47 million yearly in law enforcement and judicial resources. By deporting all non-citizens, the state would eliminate these crimes, save lives, and reclaim $28.6 to $58.9 million annually, redirecting these funds to enhance citizen safety and significantly reduce victimization risks. This decisive action would foster a secure environment where Nebraskans can thrive without fear of foreign criminality. The Nebraska State Constitution provides unequivocal authority for state leaders to address this threat. Under Article 4, Section 6, the governor, as the supreme executive power, must faithfully execute laws, including federal immigration statutes that target non-citizen offenders. Article 5, Section 13, empowers the governor to deploy the militia to repel invasions, a term broadly interpreted to encompass unauthorized immigration that undermines public safety. Governor Jim Pillen's Executive Order 25-01, issued in 2025, mandates state agencies, such as the Nebraska State Patrol and Department of Correctional Services, to cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement by notifying federal authorities of suspected immigration violators and holding detainees for deportation. The legislature, charged with promoting the general welfare under Article 2, Section 1, supports these efforts through laws like Legislative Bill 532, which penalizes employers hiring undocumented workers, complementing existing E-Verify mandates. Sheriffs and local police, through 287G, agreements and secure communities, expedite removals, ensuring non-citizens, particularly undocumented immigrants, are swiftly deported to prevent crimes that threaten Nebraskans. Redirecting the saved $28.6 to $58.9 million to investigate immigrant communities would enable Nebraska to identify additional non-citizens, further reducing crime and protecting citizens. The 2025 Glen Valley Foods raid in Omaha, which detained 76 non-citizens, demonstrates the effectiveness of targeted enforcement in disrupting foreign criminal activity. Expanding such efforts, including 287G, agreements to counties like Douglas, ensures no non-citizen criminal escapes justice, safeguarding Nebraskans from future victimization. While some studies suggest non-citizens have lower crime rates per capita, the preventable nature of their offenses, homicides, assaults, and property crimes, outweigh such arguments. Nebraska's constitutional mandate to protect citizens demands prioritizing their safety over the presence of foreign offenders who contribute preventable threats to community tranquility. Undercounting of non-citizens, potentially 20 to 30% higher than reported estimates, suggests an even greater criminal burden, with more homicides and assaults than official data indicates. By removing non-citizens, Nebraska eliminates both current crimes and the potential for future offenses by individuals who might otherwise go undetected. This comprehensive approach, supported by constitutional authority and legal mechanisms, ensures that resources are redirected to serve citizens, funding initiatives like community policing to reduce crime risks. The state's leaders must act decisively to deport all non-citizens, leveraging federal partnerships and state powers to eradicate the criminal threat posed by foreign presence. By doing so, Nebraska restores peace, eliminates preventable dangers, and ensures that its communities remain secure, allowing citizens to live without fear of victimization and fostering a prosperous future where safety is paramount.